Hello, everybody. Bobby Medina here, and today we are bringing you a super cool, exclusive interview with a tremendous trumpet player, somebody who I've seen online, and you may have seen ads for him for his trumpet and his gear and stuff in the I Teach books. He has studied at the Paris Conservatory. He's been principal trumpet with the Garde Républicaine, which is the French military band in Paris. He's been part of the Mulhouse Symphony Orchestra, the Amiens Symphony Orchestra, and the Paris Chamber Orchestra. And in addition to that, he is the principal trumpeter in the Paris Opéra Orchestra. He's also the professor at the Paris Conservatory, soloist, and a part of the Paris Opéra Brass Quintet. He's also a Shulky performing artist. And welcome, Marc Geujon. So great to have you here.
Thank you very much, Bobby, for your invitation.
Yeah, well, we are really excited to have you here. And so I'm personally just so glad you're part of the group. You know, we try to have a broad range of people, both men and women, in different aspects of performance. And although I'm not a classical or an orchestral trumpet player, I have a little bit of experience with it when I was in school and college and studying myself. But I'm kind of curious to find out how you got interested in the trumpet and what attracted you over to the classical orchestral realm.
Okay, so I would say the trumpet was not my first choice. When I was a kid, around 12 years old, I began to study music, and in a very small village in the north of France. And you had to study the 1 year solfège before to choose your instrument. And so I asked my solfège teacher to play the trombone. And he said, okay, let me have a look. So he looked in the room, and there is no trombone in the room. So you will play that, and he gave me a trumpet. And so it was my first contact with the trumpet. And I studied for 1 year with a very nice professor who was an amateur player. I think you say amateur also in English. Yeah?
Yeah.
And he was teaching me for free, and he was also teaching clarinet, tuba, and everything, you know. And so my first year was terrible. I was playing here, and with a very bad sound. And 1 year after, some friends asked me if I would like to go to the conservatory in the big town near my parents' house. And my first contact with the professor there, he said, okay, you won't be able to play trumpets. I think you have to choose another instrument, probably tuba or something like this. And I said, no, I studied trumpet, I want to be a trumpet player. He said, okay, stop during the summer, and we will return to the very beginning in September. So I stopped to play for 2 months, and in September, he gave me the ballet method, you know, method ballet, yeah? I played for 6 months only long tones, and only very, you know, middle register long tones. And 4 years after, I was graduated at the conservatory. So it was very fast, but my very beginning was a little bit terrible.
A little bit shaky. Well, that's cool. I'm glad you're not a tuba player. This way we know each other.
Sure. And,
so when you studied and everything, though, who are some of the musicians that influenced you the most? Who would you say are some of your favorite or your top influences? And they don't have to be trumpeters, as you know.
Yeah, sure. I would say at the very beginning, my first long player my parents gave me was a commercial recording from Georges Jouvin. He was a very famous commercial player in France during the 50s. And it was my first contact with the trumpet sound.
Mm-hmm.
After that, my second long player was Maurice André. And it was, wow, just even, you know.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So, I told to my parents, okay, that sound, Maurice André, was so incredible. And I want to play like this. I never played like this, unfortunately, but you know, it was just something unusual, something very...
Yeah, he was incredibly special. I was really lucky one time to go see a clinic with him down in Los Angeles, California, many, many years ago. And I remember him playing, and just the quality of sound and the evenness of it was almost like a piano playing. It wasn't like a trumpet, you know, it was incredible. So I understand that. I mean, he is the gold standard, you know, for us, especially if you play piccolo, or especially if you're a soloist of some sort, you know.
And after that, I was studied in my small conservatory, and the chamber music teacher was a French horn player. And one day he gave me a CD. It was the first CD from Eric Albee. Eric Albee is a very famous trumpet player, a French trumpet player. And his first CD was Jolivet, Tomasi, Des Enclos, Chênes. Great French trumpet concerto. And I heard that CD, and it was so incredible too. You know, it was wow. And I said, okay, I want to study with him. So I tried to find his phone. I found him and said, Mr. Aubier, I would like to study with you. So I was the year after, I was one of his students. And he is probably the trumpet player who influenced me the most, you know. Mm-hmm. And after that, I have the chance to be in the pit in the opera. And we have probably the most beautiful beautiful singers every evening. Mm-hmm. And so it's just amazing to hear the singers every evening. And I try in my playing to be like a singer, you know. It's for me very important. So to have a voice through my bell. And so I think also the singers gave me a lot of influence too.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a part of performance that a lot of trumpet players miss. Some people, we get too into the mechanics of playing, and sometimes we don't think about the voice and singing through the instrument, you know. So that's huge importance. So what was it like, getting back to Eric Albee, how was it when you were studying with him? What kind of things were you working on when you first started? What kind of maybe issues did you have, and how did he take you from point A to point B?
I think he was pretty young. He was 35 at that time, and he was at his very beginning of his soloist career. And so he played a lot for us. Every lessons, he played Tomasi, he played Jolivet, he played, you know, all the French big concerto. And we tried to copy him. Mm-hmm. And I think he was a student from Maurice André. And I think for Maurice André, it was the same. It was a player a teacher who played a lot for his students. And mm-hmm. when you have a good example in front of you, it's a very good way, I think, to learn how to play. And I believe lots in that. I mean, for me, if you have a good idea of the sound, a good idea of the phrase you want to play, the mechanics, the technical things are not so important. And I read a lot of book about Arnold Jacobs teaching.
Oh yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, and for me, it's exactly the idea I have about the trumpet playing. So it wasn't very technical. We played the stamp, we played R-band, we played, you know, everything. But so I think the most interesting was to listen Augier playing.
Okay. A lot of times too, in addition to listening to somebody, when you're watching them, it's a lesson in itself, just in how to hold yourself and how to breathe. And, you know, of course, you know, you hear all the phrasing and all that kind of stuff as well. So that's cool. You know I'm going to skip around here a little bit, but I know you're a Shulky artist, and I know you have, you've worked with them, but tell us a little bit about how you got involved with the Shulky Company. I don't play Shulky, but I have played some Shulkys, and everyone I've played, I love. You know, there's lots of different horns out there, and they're like shoes, you know, they're very personal for us. But tell us a little bit about your relationship with the Shulky Company and how it came to be.
I think it's perhaps 15 years ago, or perhaps a little bit more, 20 years, I don't know. I was in a shop in Paris to choose a piccolo trumpet for a colleague. I was not too bad at the piccolo, and so he asked me, can you choose the piccolo for me? And I was testing Shulky P54. And that day, Andrew Norman, the owner of Shulky, was with Phil Bachman, the sales manager that, during that time. And they were in Paris to visit their sellers. And so I was in a room and I was playing the piccolo. And he knocked at the door, opened the door, and he introduced himself. Hello, I'm Andrew Norman from Shulky. Okay. And he gave me a B1 to try, gold-plated B1 to try. And I played the trumpet. I said, I don't like. And it was a little bit, I was playing back, you know, back trumpets. Perhaps it was a 72 bell, pretty big B-flat. And the B1 was perhaps too small for me. The ball was perhaps too small. And he said, okay, but I think my playing, he found probably my playing not too bad. And he said, okay, I will send you an X3. And he sent to the shop an X3. And I tried the X3. I said, wow, it was my size.
Yeah, that's a big horn, right?
Yeah, but I was playing very free horns. I was young, you know, 20 years old, something like that. And so I was playing something perhaps more free than now. And I tried first that X3, and it was, for me, so easy to play. So I bought that trumpet. And after that, perhaps 2 months after, I tried the C3, the traditional Shulky models. And it was also very easy for me to play as soloist, you know, Tomasi, Jolivet, and it was very easy trumpet. And so we begin just a normal relationship with Shulky, and I just said, okay, the X3 I love, the C3 is very good trumpet. And we met again in Frankfurt, in the Musikmesse, you know, the big fair in Frankfurt, in Germany. And I tested a lot of Shulky horns. And Phil Bachman also tried to introduce me to the E-flat trumpets, the E3L, and other horn. And I would say perhaps 1 year after I was playing all Shulky. And I won my different position with Shulky trumpets. Even in the opera, I won the audition with all Shulky trumpets. And when just after the audition, the section said, okay, could you play back trumpet, please? Why? I play Shulky. Wait, yes, but all the section play back trumpet. So I found a back trumpet. I played for a few months back trumpet, and I was not very comfortable with the back trumpet. And we discussed with Andrew, and he made a special model for me. It was a C3 HD model. And after that, perhaps 2 years after, we discussed about a new option for my playing, and it was a soloist series, the new series. And we made something very different. It's not a traditional Shulky, it's a non-reverse lead pipe, it's a very different bell. All is different, you know, it's not a traditional Shulky. But for me, it's very good horn, and I play my series SB4 MG and SC4 MG every time. And now our section at the opera, they played also Shulky.
So they eventually made everybody get the Shulkys in the sections.
Yeah. And it had a lot of success here in France and in Europe. I don't know in US, but
well, I don't know about for orchestral music how successful they are there, but in the commercial world, and you know, I know there's a lot of people using them, you know, and in shows and things like that.
And I would say in Europe, the Shulky has reputation about a lack of projection in the orchestra. And you know, we all played back trumpet in orchestra. Everywhere in the world, it's back trumpet. No, a little bit Yamaha, but Shulky was not for orchestral player. And I made some recordings with the pictures at an exhibition, Malo 5, and a lot of players said, okay, what do you play? Which back do you play? And I play Shulky. No, yes, I play Shulky. And I think Shulky has also some projection, you know. It's at some core and the sound, and the new model for me is perhaps has more projections than the back trumpet. And it's pretty easy to play. So for me, my job is easier and the sound is okay. So.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's perfect. You know, I hope to try one of these days, because I think that would be an interesting thing to play. And, you know, really the reality is, like, sometimes what people hear when they know what you're playing, I'm looking for the word for it, but they think they know what they're hearing, but they don't really. You know, you could be playing anything, you know. So you've developed your own mouthpiece, right? Or maybe mouthpieces with them. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I was playing some Shulky mouthpiece. At that time, it was Scott Lesky who made some mouthpiece for me a long time ago for piccolo. And it was, I don't know, like 25 years ago, and I can't remember. But after that, the new mouthpiece manager there, Chris, asked me to work on mouthpiece which match with the new series. And so we make something. I play pretty big mouthpiece around 1C. And so we make, Chris made for me a very good mouthpiece. The size is a little bit, I don't know in inch, you know, but it's, I think, perhaps 1/4, 1C size. With a traditional 17 Shulky cup. The throat is 25, and the backbore from Shulky, I can't remember, perhaps D or something like this, open backbore. And it works very well for me. So I play that mouthpiece for all the E flat, C, and B flat trumpet. And he also made for me cornet mouthpiece, regular mouthpiece, and it became a little bit popular here in France because it's a signature mouthpiece, you know.
So you have, I'm going to assume this, I don't like to assume, but do you use the same rim on all of your mouthpieces then?
I use the same rim for E flat, B flat, C trumpet. Also for the rotary trumpet, we play rotary trumpets here in the orchestra. And I play smaller rim like a 5C back, something like this, on the piccolo and the G trumpet.
On the smaller instruments, yeah. Okay.
Smaller diameter.
So what brand of rotary trumpets are you playing over there?
I have some Tyne, B flat, and you know Tyne from Brennan.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, I play B flat and C from Tyne. Also Shagger.
Oh yeah, okay.
I have a Weimann because it changed the color of the sound. The Tyne is very powerful instrument, I think, a very massive sound. The Shagger is perhaps brighter, and the Weimann, for me, it's more interesting for the small opera like Mozart opera or something like this with a lighter sound. And so I try to change and to find something interesting in the sound.
So for you, what determines which trumpet you play on which piece? I mean, how do you figure that out?
First of all, the sound. The sound I have in my aids, and the sound which works with my colleagues, with woodwinds, with strings players, and after that I played sometimes for one bar or something like this, the G trumpet or the E trumpet, just to make something very clean every evening. So sometimes I pick up the E flat to play two notes, you know, just because I'm sure I never missed the notes. So it's I play a lot of trumpet every time, so it's I think an habit.
Okay. Hey, I know it's you guys are 9 hours ahead of us, and it looks like the sun is going down over there, and I can hardly see you. Can you have a light on you want to turn on? There we go. There you are again.
Is it better? No,
that's a little better. Sure.
Oh, I'm not sure. I have only one light. It's just a small office here in my house, but
it's okay. That's better. We can see you here. So, you know, we ask this next question once in a while because you've been in your career for a long time now, and you've had a lot of success, and you know where you started and you know where you're at now. But how are you different now than you were back then? You know, most of our members in this group are 50 and above. And so how does your current playing compare to how you were when you were 20 or 25? What things do you know now that you didn't know then, and what have you refined?
I would say no. I will be 46 in October, so I would say I'm probably stronger now than when I was 25 or something like this. You know, I think 40, 45 is very good age for a player, and so because you have a little bit more experience.
Exactly.
The orchestra, you played the repertoire several times, so and physically you are perhaps stronger too. So now I would say I feel pretty well, you know, on stage. But things are a little bit different. I think I need sometimes more time to warm up in the morning, and perhaps breathing is a little bit different. You have a little bit less breathing when you are a little bit older, but I think if you have the good, again, if you have the good sound in your head, physically it's not so important, I think, for my job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I am not lead trumpet in a big band. I play classical. It's pretty easy, you know, in an orchestra.
I don't know about that. I've heard some really demanding pieces too, you know, and when you're playing as a soloist, it's very demanding.
Yeah, but you know, Reinhold Friedrich, for example, the German player, I don't, Matthiasovs, we have a lot of very wonderful player here, I think, in US too, but in Europe you have Hardenberger, Reinhold Friedrich, Matthiasovs, Eric Albee. They are all 60, and they are wonderful players.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps because they don't think too much about their age. They just play music, you know?
Right, exactly. Well, you know, what we think about, you know, there's a saying, then the saying is here, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you will, you know, and you just, you know, you have to look forward. Yeah, I think you have to be very positive, you know, when you're playing, you know, and you know, stuff happens. Sometimes we play too hard, we play too much, and it happens to everybody in every genre of music. You know, you just can't get around it. It's metal versus flesh. But let's see here. I was going to ask you. I had something else on the tip of my tongue, and now I lost it. Getting back to, well, you know, I mean, there are some great players. I lived in Sweden for a while. We have a lot of Swedish people on our site, and there's a great guy. He also studied with Maurice Andre, who you probably know, Håkan Hardenberger, great trumpet player. And I've been watching. Oh, I know what I was gonna, because I've been watching him. We've all been watching him play some of the Charlier etudes, and I'm wondering, during this COVID time, you know, we're not out doing concerts and playing like we were, right? So what are you doing during this time to stay in shape? What is your typical day like right now?
I practice a lot. Usually I begin at 8:30 in the morning, and I play until 6 p.m. So with some breaks, you know, but I love to practice. I enjoy my day when I'm with my trumpet and I can practice. Usually I don't have so much time to practice. And so here in Europe we are lucky because during the COVID we were paid, you know. The system is a bit different. So we keep our salary from the orchestra. And so it was mentally it was very we were quiet, you know. It's I think pretty different than in USA or in Great Britain or something like this. And so I had a lot of projects. Next month I have some recordings with the Mulhouse Orchestra. I will record 8 concerto in the month. And so since March, I practice to prepare. You know, I have a lot of time to prepare. Mm-hmm. So it's very hard to say because I know a lot of players can't play gig, can't play concert, but I was lucky enough to practice in my home and to get my money each month. You know, yeah. So it was pretty comfortable for me.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. But I'm a little bit like that as far as I enjoy practicing. You know, I've been practicing more than I normally do. And I know there's been people that they don't get excited about practicing if there's no gigs coming up, you know, but I'm not like that. I like to try to just keep improving as much as I can, and learning new tunes, learning new things, you know. Let's keep moving forward, so to speak. So can you share an idea or two about what helps you in your practicing? What kinds of, you know, maybe mental techniques or visual techniques or visualization techniques or even mechanics that you could recommend for players on in this group?
Every time I practice long tones, for me it's very important. My favorite book is from Michael Sachs, the daily routine, I think, for trumpet. And it's one of my favorite books. It's always on my stand. And I love Michael Sachs playing. So he has a beautiful sound, you know. And, yeah, and it's wonderful player. Also David Bidger in Philadelphia. And you have a lot of wonderful players. And so long tones for me are very important. And I would say my idea of playing, I never play in the trumpet. I mean, almost be like vocal playing, vocal playing.
Yeah, like singing.
Like singing, you know. And so I never play after the mouthpiece. I let the metal do the job, you know, and I just sing. I have a voice inside, and I try to play as singing as possible. Mm-hmm. So, it's like you have a ghost phrase inside, and I let the trumpet do most of its job.
Its job, right? And you like to let the trumpet do the work for you as much as possible. Yeah. Well, I've seen some of your stuff online and heard you in concert, and you just have a beautiful sound. It's so resonant and ringing and big and clear, and it has all the qualities that any great trumpeter would want to have, you know, and I really, really enjoy it. After we get done, I will post up, if you give me some, like, I'm not sure where, you know, your CDs, your recordings might be available at, but we can talk about that, and I can post that up if people want to purchase those as well, because I think that would be cool. In fact, I'd like to get, you know, have some in my CD collection as well here. So that's really cool. Well, you know, I know it's getting late over there, so I just want to thank you so much for being part of this. You've shared a lot of great information with us here, and we're super happy to have you in the group, and always enjoy seeing you, you know, in there when you make comments, and other people. I know we've had, you know, Michael Sachs has been in on one of our little interviews. He's a cool guy. Every once in a while he'll say a little something, or Ronald Rahm will say something. So it's really extra special with you guys. So I really appreciate you taking the time to be here, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the big stage in the near future.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was my pleasure to be with you this evening.
Okay, thanks so much.
Ciao.